Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we discuss day-to-day problems people face in their lives. Let's start with the video. I, 28 male, have not spoken to my mom, 53 female, since she cheated on my dad, 55 male, with a friend of his, 55 male. I think he's the same age as my dad. I was 19 when he cheated. Now she's reached out. So yeah, my mom cheated on my dad when I was 19 with a good friend of his. It almost broke my father, given that it was a good friend of his that she cheated on him with. My dad struggled with depression and trust issues for a long time and even cut out his entire social circle of friends. He just locked himself away. I took care of my dad, and after therapy, he has gotten much better and is doing okay now. The last thing I said to my mom was that she was finished with me. So it's been around 8 years since I've spoken to my mom. She eventually married dad's friend. She even had the gall to send me an invite to the wedding. I honestly just remember the hell she put me and dad through and have no real interest in connecting with her whatsoever. But she sent me a letter since I have blocked her number and she's blocked on Facebook along with her husband. I almost wanted to tear it up and just throw it away, but decided to open and read it. Mom just wrote that she has missed a lot of my life and that she's sorry for what she put dad through and has tried to talk to me many times over the years about it. She asked me to please come to her place and talk, and she made it clear that her husband would not be there and it would just be the two of us talking. So struggling on what to do and feeling like I want to be stubborn like I have been for the last 8 years where I've pretended she does not exist. I also want to make it clear that dad has never said a bad word about mom. All these years he was just depressed and lost faith in his friends and stopped trusting people. The affair had lasted quite a while right under his nose, with mom and his friend lying to him for many years. After therapy opened up and managed to deal with it, I decided to cut out my mom from my life and move on without her, which was my way of dealing with it. The reason I'm considering meeting her is because we never actually had a conversation about it. I never gave her a chance to explain herself, and honestly, just curious to hear what she has to say. Anyways, just me airing out some thoughts and just can't seem to make up my mind on what to do. It's a tough situation to be in. I'm sorry for what you and your dad went through. If I were you, I would think hard about it before making any decisions. I would try to figure out what are the pros and cons of this potential meeting with your mother. Maybe now she's realized what she's done, but that doesn't mean you have to forgive her. The ball is in your court. If you want to meet and talk with her, go ahead. But if you don't, that's fine as well. You don't owe her anything. She may have been your mother, but after what she put you through, it's understandable. This is the best comment. You don't have to forgive your mother, and you do need to do what's best for you. But it is unhealthy to hold on to hate. Letting go of hate doesn't mean you have to forgive them and open your heart and trust them. But at the end of the day, you have to make that choice. I'm sorry you're even in this position. Take your time with the decision. Don't feel rushed one way or another. If your mom is wanting to reconnect, she can continue to wait patiently until you feel clarity. Given she's remarried and still with a fair partner, it's unlikely you could develop much or any connection with her alone. It's logical to assume she would want to incorporate a fair partner as well eventually. So if you want to meet and potentially reconnect, you might want to establish firm boundaries there indefinitely, so you can remove them as you see comfortable moving forward. It might also be a good idea to have a mature conversation with dad before you reach your own decision, so he's fully informed, and then everything is out in the open whatever you decide. If by any chance you decide to meet her, do not go to her home. Do it on your terms, a place and time you feel more comfortable, and walk out if needed. I think the last place to have this talk would be at the house she shares with the man she cheated with. It can trigger some anger in you. This is hard. She has caused you and your father so much pain, and that's not an easy thing to deal with. With this whole situation, I feel like you've closed the door, but the problem is still on your doorstep, so to speak. I think talking to your mother would be good for you. You mentioned that your dad went through therapy, but did you do any for yourself? What did you do to help yourself? Speaking to your mother might give you some closure. I'm not saying you'll be hugging and singing happy songs by the end of it, but I think you may be able to successfully close that chapter of your life afterwards. Right now, you're just ignoring your mother while resentment stays rooted within you, and that's not healthy. Ultimately, the decision is yours. Do it because you want to and on your terms. I wish you the best. I'm a pessimistic person. My guess is your absence in her life is continued reminders that she destroyed more than her marriage. In my mind, she'll say or do anything to get back into your life. Overwrought apologies, heartfelt regrets, being sorry she missed out on so much of your life, wanted to talk to you so many times so you could forgive her and that she could rest easier. It's not your responsibility to make her feel better for her actions. You owe no forgiveness just because someone has regrets. That's their actions had consequences. To be honest, I'd consider talking to a therapist to work through what your mother did to you so you can heal. I don't see healing coming from your mother. I see perpetuation of her bullcrap. I have experience with this. My dad cheated on my mom in 2001 when I was 23 years old after 30 years of them being with each other. We were so close before this happened. I did not speak to him for the following 2 years. He reached out to me in early 2004 to tell me that he had cancer and would really like to talk to me again. I agreed and went to visit him in the state that he moved to. He died in August 2004, 7 months from when we reconciled. I'm happy that I put my anger on the back burner and did the difficult thing. I loved him and now see how flawed of a person he was. I never totally forgave him in my head or my heart, but I do know the level of grief I would still have had if he died without us ever discussing everything. Final update. Me, 28 male, have not spoken to my mother, 53 female, since she cheated on my dad, 55 male, with a friend of his, 55 male. I think he's the same age as my dad. I was 19 when she cheated. Now she's reached out. Hey everybody, did not expect the post to garner so much attention and just wanted to say that I decided to meet with mom. On the advice of several here, I decided to meet her at a public place and it was a nice day, so we went for a walk in the park and just talked. She did warn me in advance that her husband would pick her up after and asked if that was okay, and I said it was fine, that does not bother me. She made no excuses for what happened and was just sorry, which she kept saying over and over again, and I said that I almost did not show, but I'm not here for you but for me, and she understood that. We sat down at a bench and just talked. My question was if dad did anything wrong or was abusive. She denied it and said no. She said she just developed feelings for someone else and it does not justify the years I lied to her. She said, I just said to us, you lied to me too, not just him. I told her how I feel looking back at my teenage years and have had quite some time reflecting over them and suddenly remember things that dad's ex-friend, was at our house when dad was away and that I felt guilty for not noticing or even connecting the dots, which in hindsight I should have done. All these small memories of you and him being very friendly with each other and like an idiot, I did not connect the dots. That's what I think about when I think back on those years. I told her and suddenly many things from that time made sense. I also told her that dad never said a bad word about her or her husband. He struggled with depression and there was a time when I was worried I might find him with a bullet in his head. You and your husband, his best friend, did this to him, two of the closest people in his life besides me. I, on the other hand, decided to do what I felt was right and cut off all contact with you. And no, dad did not ask me to do so. I made my own decision on that. Why are you writing me letters and what do you want from me now? She just said she wants to be in my life. I just said you should have thought about that while you were lying through your teeth for 5 years. And to think that I actually liked spending time with dad's friend. Him, me, and dad even went fishing one time and acted like a buddy to dad. Just lies and deception. How could you manage it for so many years? She had no answer to that. We talked a lot more, most of me berating her, but I let her speak her piece, and once we were done talking, I just said I'm doing fine without you. I just wanted to meet you because I wanted closure and I've gotten it now. My impression is that you're not sorry about this, but you're sorry for getting caught. She started to argue and just said no, she was really sorry and if she could do anything so that we at least could try to have some contact, she would. I just said that the only thing that would ever make me consider having any contact is for you to make a choice you already made. Either divorce him or stay with him and go no contact with me. But I'm not going to force you to make that choice because you already made it. I also said, I feel I got what I came for, which was some closure, and you wanted to speak your piece. Now you have, and I still don't feel I want to have any contact with you. Just leave me alone. You made your choice, and frankly, I'm not angry with you, but I also don't want to have any contact with you anymore. I felt like I went too far and acted a little colder than I would like. Anybody who knows me would have said that was out of character for me. She was in tears and just told her to live your life and I will live mine, but I don't want you to be a part of mine. And that was no handshake, hug, or anything. I just walked away, and honestly, I feel like I made the right call. I remained calm throughout the entire thing, no name calling or anything, but yeah, having my mom crying was hard and not something I'm proud of. But honestly, I wanted her to know why I cut contact, and despite everything, I feel lighter and ready to move on. I know many expected a full meltdown from me if I met her, but it was very calm and no real dramatics. I honestly had been prepping for this conversation for years in my head, and now she knows where I stand. Edit. Just wanted to clarify that my mom is unblocked on Facebook and on my phone, and if she had anything else to say, I would listen. I did throw a lot at her, and who knows, maybe one day I can at least have some contact, but don't feel ready for that now. You did good. You heard her out. You said your piece and felt better for it. The best outcome. Not gonna lie, reading about how your teenage years feel tainted was really heartbreaking. Yeah, she was very affected by that as well, and I did not elaborate too much on that part since I saw she was reacting strongly to it. Like I said, I wanted to hear her out and have the conversation, but I did not feel the need to be unusually cruel either. I could have said much worse, but decided against it. I don't think cheating parents understand the complicated emotions their cheating engenders in their kids. I think they think it's just a simple loyalty issue when it's that and so much more. Like you have listed in your post the imposter faux life feelings. Absolutely. Cheaters are thinking only about themselves in the moment and not at all about the other people or the consequences if they get caught. When my ex's affair came to light, it devastated both our families and still makes a lot of people sad. I get depressing messages from my ex-mother-in-law on my birthday about how much she misses me. I always say you're cheating on your entire family because you're lying to everyone, not just the partner. I get mad when homewreckers are like, I'm not the only one making a vow or breaking it, but yeah, you're stealing a father or a mother from their kids. You're still a horrible person. And then original poster's mother is confused why her son wants nothing to do with her or her new husband. Jeez. It sounds like she's sorry about the way she went about the relationship with your dad's best friend, with the lying, but not about the relationship itself. It shows she made the right decision in the worst way possible. Honestly, I'll never understand people who cannot imagine themselves in another person's shoes and being unable to forgive the dumbery we humans are capable of, even if it hurts. Not to mention the idea that feelings are unchangeable. Your feelings are your own. I hope you find peace in yours and she finds peace in hers. Next story. I punched my husband in the face and I'm having a hard time taking all the blame. We were having a pretty heated argument and he got in my face and shoved me with the top half of his body, making me almost fall. I told him to back up and to stop and he continued to do it. I'm not sure what happened, but I punched him. I knew what I was doing. I didn't black out. I was scared and angry at him. But I did something I never thought I would. Little backstory. I was seriously abused in the past and this isn't the first time he's done it to me. Figuring out what the next step is a whole other process I haven't even been able to process yet. After the fact, he was going to leave and blamed me for everything. Said he couldn't believe I would do that and that it would take time to forgive me. And when I said why I did it, that answer wasn't good enough and what I did was much, much worse. I apologized but also was trying to explain why it wasn't just my fault and it's not like I hit him just because I felt like it and was mad. He's blaming me and treating me like I'm an abuser. I shouldn't have punched him. I know that, but I feel like the things leading up to it shouldn't be ignored either. I just need some thoughts on this. Am I completely wrong? Edit it to add. He has gotten in my face many times in the past, called me some pretty awful names, and I've tried to stay calm every time. I was in an abusive relationship before, and it was much, much worse than this, so maybe that's why I'm still with him? I don't know. Because this is less frequent than my past? Who knows really? He has shoved me before, slammed me on the ground, and every time my defense was either to get him away from me or it sent me into a panic. I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and I'd blackout cry, have flashbacks, and kind of just swing around, and these defenses were acceptable to him and he took blame every time except for now. But I never close fist hit him in the face. I think the anger and buildup of someone I love willingly treat me like that, and the fear I felt along with the panic made me snap this time. I didn't hit him as hard as I could, not that it makes it better, but my point is that it wasn't a punch out of pure anger. It was sloppy and more panic induced. I tried to talk to him about this, but I'm the bad guy right now. I don't know if he's toying with my head at this point. I know why I did it. I know he was being violent beforehand, but maybe he's right. I'm just trying to figure out if I'm completely wrong like he's saying. He physically abused you and got mad when you defended yourself. Leave this dude. You're unhealthy for each other. We are. I'm aware of this. I think I honestly just snapped. He pushed me before, got in my face and slammed me on the ground to get something out of my hands. And none of those times did I retaliate by punching him in the face. I wanted to, but I never did. But this time I did. That confuses me. I feel horrible. I do, but I feel like I've just had enough. It's self-defense. He's just painting you as the abuser so he feels better. Not gonna lie, I think physical abuse is a good reason for divorce since it usually ends in death. Get out of there, get somewhere safe immediately. He's been physically abusing you for a while and now you defended yourself. This might make him escalate his abuse to make sure you never defend yourself again. Please get out of there. Please be safe. Reciprocal violence is not the same as domestic abuse, but it gets viewed the same by people who have an agenda. If you feel like you're being attacked, your brain initiates your fight or flight sequence. You will literally fight to defend yourself or run away to safety. This is an instinctive reaction brought on by circumstance. Men who abuse women will play the victim card at that moment. He swung, you swung. In his mind, you're even. You're just as bad as him. That is not true. Get away as fast as you can. You have the double-edged sword of a man who will beat you and a criminal justice system that will punish you for admitting you defended yourself. You're not safe in your home. Get out now. Call a shelter. They'll help you figure out your stuff. Your normal meter is broken. You're still in an abusive relationship. Just because he's slightly less abusive than the last guy doesn't mean that this is a good or healthy relationship at all. It's not. Get out, then maybe get some therapy to help you see the red flags in the future and learn some self-esteem so you won't put up with this crappy treatment from anyone else ever again. You deserve so much better than him. Believe it or not, it is possible to be in a relationship with a man that will never throw you to the ground or push you or get in your face or yell at you. All of that is abusive. Leave him immediately. You're still in danger from an abusive man. Yes, you hit him, and yes, that was wrong. So if for no other reason, then leave him because he drove you to this, and that's not healthy for you either.